Very good day. Welcome to the Cobra Rugby Club Facebook and YouTube platforms right here with myself, Rashid Saleh, or known as Rat, with my regular co-host Dylan, the Vice President of Cobra Rugby Club and also head of the Cobra's development program. I have to mention that today because it's really important that has to be said. For those of you out there, don't forget to, of course, subscribe to us, press like on Facebook as well as our YouTube platforms. Again, if you have any questions concerning our club or anything to do with rugby and its development of Cobra Rugby Club, do email us at cobrarcwebsite@gmail.com. And don't forget, we do have trainings that's open to the public on Tuesdays and Fridays from 5:30 p.m. That's for the senior team. Can you just explain what's happening with the junior side, Dylan?
The juniors right now, I think we've started training, but that's only for the 16s and 14-year-olds, and it's on every Sunday now. It's happening right now every Sunday. So if anyone that's of that age, more than welcome to just walk in. And then if you're interested, then you sign up. Then there'll be you don't really have to call in, just walk in, and then if you're interested, then sign up after that. As for the younger ones, we're all gonna have to wait a bit. It's gradual return to play, as I like to call it, and and it's we're waiting for official announcements from the government, but that we are trying to start from the under 12s to under 10s to start next month, but we're waiting for an official clearance from MBPJ. We'll see how that goes, the local council, and then if not, we all come back. We all get back to it in September when the RMCO is lifted.
Okay, a quick shout out to Jeff Siddle and Sid's Pub right in Damansara Heights. All the guys there. Hi, everyone. Hope you guys are all, because Jacko is actually shooting himself right now because he knows he's going to be on. Don't forget, of course, the show is on at Sid's Pub at 4 p.m. right now. At 5 o'clock, the Waratahs are playing against the Rebels.
That's right.
At 6 p.m., England against the West Indies. Of course, that's the third and deciding test for cricket. So those who are fans of rugby and as well as international cricket, do head over to Sid's Pub and Damansara Heights, of course, and also the one in Tamantun as well in TTDI. And make your way there and say hi to Jeff, right? Or buy him a drink.
You know all the Sids, Rashid?
Pardon?
You know where all the Sids are.
Well, you got to do your research. If you're going to be, you have to do research when you have, when talk about our, soon to be sponsors. Maybe, but never mind. Especially at least host sponsors. Get it? Okay, right. Let's talk about what we're supposed to be talking about today, which is development officers. We've got two lovely guests that that have been part of Cobra. One probably will go to Kangaroo Court because he's actually plays for KL Tigers. So let's bring him in first. Let's welcome Sam Jackson, or as always known as Jacko. He's the head coach of KL Tigers. You're so in trouble. Anyway,
he doesn't just play. He's the head coach.
Hey guys. Actually, Rashid, I think whilst we're on that subject, so I better address everyone who's sat there going, "What's he doing wearing a Cobra t-shirt?" Well, guys, we got to share the love. We got to share the love. This is also expensive. Got to get some wear out of it.
You mean you paid for it? Oh,
because the money goes to the program. You see.
Yes,
so
that's right.
Goes to a good cause.
Wearing the love.
All right, and another of our guests, he's Welsh, so it's going to be a fun show because we've got an Englishman, a Welshman on the show as well. He's based in Austria right now, and he's been part of the Cobra's development program as well. Let's welcome him all the way from Austria, Curtis Bradford. Hi, Kurt. How are you?
Hey guys, how are you?
Jeff saying hi. Hey, Jacko. There you go.
Hey, man.
Any last words?
Get him down, Jeff.
For Jeff or for Jacko? Which one?
You know what I'm talking about. Not for Jeff. Any final words? Oh, okay. Yeah. Right. I'm just going to leave you guys alone for a while. I'll watch from the from out the stream. But take care, Dylan.
I know how you play. Don't worry about it. You carry on. One of the things about Rashid is what you call almost he's like the Rowan. He'll take the number 9 position he'll kick everybody off by using his seniority, and then he'll come in as and when he likes. I'm sure, Jacko, you can relate to that behavior.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to play alongside Cav yet, but if I'm still in Malaysia in another 15 years, then hopefully he'll still be around pulling the strings.
Mate, it's a special experience to play with Cav.
Yeah. Go on.
Well, one of me number 9s like me. So well, anyway, being a number 9, I'm sure he'll come in on a cheeky run if we get boring somehow.
Yeah, 100%.
Anyway, guys, we'll jump straight to it. One of the amazing things which I really have to admire and respect about the both of you is it's basically to travel from such a great distance. Yeah, I know you guys are a rugby nation and all that, but to travel a great distance, coming all the way to the tropics, and not just to play, but actually to teach. You're basically teaching, and well, the fact that you just made the choice to come here, so which is one of the things. Yeah, how did you guys end up down on the tropics down here? We'll start off with the man from Austria. Austria, right?
Yeah.
One old lady assumed Austria was southeast from here. I think it's a few syllables short. Yes, few syllables. You're thinking you're in Super 15s.
Yeah. Maybe one day, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, mate. It was a pretty random one, to be honest, because I think I was 21 at the time, and I was working for the Welsh Rugby Union, and obviously that was a great job, lots of free kit, and got to walk around saying you worked for the Welsh Rugby Union, so it was a bit of fun. But after a few years, I just wanted to change, and I was going to go backpacking in Asia, and I just put a message out to loads of different clubs throughout Asia, and KL Tigers got back to me, and Gary Kane said, let's have a meeting. So literally about 20 minutes later, I was going to join KL Tigers. And then Gary pitched to Daryl, I think, about me helping with the Cobrats. And the way I'm told the story, Daryl wasn't keen at all. Daryl really didn't want a 21-year-old Welshman coming in and running the things. So I think a net got in his ear, and then I was on the ground with Cobra, and mate, I was only there for about 4 or 5 months. Because I'd already said I was going to sign to play and coach in Australia. But mate, I just loved it. I loved being with the Tigers as well, but with the Cobrats, it was just it's an interesting one. Like at that point, I'd only experienced a very certain type of rugby, and Cobrats was very, very different, and I just loved it, mate. Fell in love with it. Now I come back once a year for the camps, and Izan shows me a good time, and I keep coming back.
We love having you, mate.
You gotta mention that. We'll come back. Well, you know, there's going to be some stories coming along later. Well, I want to get Jacko's bit in about how he found himself here, and just to highlight. I mean, this one of the things I just highlighted. I mean, you guys are pretty much in your 20s and trying to establish and then integrate and make an impact. So anyway, Jacko, your story, please.
Similar to Curtis, it really wasn't expected. When I was at uni, I did like a sports performance and coaching foundation, and then I went into a little bit of teaching after that. However, I then sold my soul to a job that I wasn't particularly fond of, and I realised quite soon after getting into that job that I need to go back and do something I love. And rugby had always been my passion, and I love teaching and giving back to other people. So I was kind of scouting around for other opportunities, and I actually have one of my friends that I went to uni with who's out here playing for KL Tigers. I bumped into him over Christmas at a Gloucester game, and we had a little chat, and he said that the guys that I took over from, Kano and Lewis, two other great coaches that were here before me, they were leaving, and he basically put me in touch with Gary Kane, the same as Curtis. Took a few months to organise and sort out, but essentially I came out here May 2018. So I've been here just over 2 years now. I loved every part of it. I've been with KL Tigers. Obviously, KL Tigers is linked with Leicester Tigers, so I'm fortunate enough to be able to go back there and do some work with them through the summer months when we haven't got any rugby going on here. And then another fantastic opportunity came about when I first arrived, which was joining Cobra. I've now been with Cobra for the same time that I've been out here, just over 2.5 years, which is awesome.
We got Paul Freebeer. You familiar with the name, guys?
Yeah, Paul Freer.
Yeah, very, very familiar. It's Paul Freer. Short chap, about 6 foot something. Older than me. Older than both of us, the two of you combined, actually.
Yeah, 6 foot something.
Yeah, if you shake his hand, his middle finger will tap you on the inside of the elbow. he's big man.
I know this question's a bit early. And Jeff's always excited about asking questions. Now, I've been to a lot of Malaysian school rugby tournaments over the years, and the junior school rugby here is brilliant. How do you suggest the development rugby post-school could get better? Don't have to answer it now, but have a think. Right, bye.
There you go. He does that all the time.
Nice, easy one to start.
Is that the next question?
No, we'll come to that question in a bit. The serious side. I think I just right now is to establish your with the listeners here a bit of your background. How coming here is like how did you guys? What I mean, I think I'll just go straight to it. Yeah. What was your impression when you ended up at the Cobra corner?
Mate, for me, it was. I landed in Malaysia on a Wednesday, and I did my first Tigers session 4 days later. First Cobra session 4 days later on the Sunday, and I'd never been to Asia before. Didn't really know what to expect. I came down, and to be honest, the training was great. It was nice to get to know everyone, but like you say, Cobra corner. You come and you sit down and you have a few beers with all the coaches and with all your friends after training. It was almost like being back at home, and it's so unique to have here, and I absolutely loved it. And it's been the drive for my Sundays every time since.
Back at home, meaning when you should be home, you're still there drinking?
Yeah. I've missed. I have to say, I've missed a fair few dinner arrangements with my girlfriend due to Sean Pierre saying, "Oh, one more." Daryl putting another tower on the table.
Yeah.
the word "one for the road" is very subjective, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, I think for me it was. I remember the first session I went there, and all the kids were training, and then a game of touch broke out with the coaches after the session, and being quite competitive. And I also was playing for KL Tigers, so was getting a bit of stick. And I remember the Pereira brothers being a little bit chatty, so I thought I'm gonna take these boys on, and it was quite a wet day in KL, and I remember getting sidestepped by SP and slipping over, and was the butt of the jokes for a few hours after that. But yeah, Daryl buying the towers helped ease the pain.
It's good.
Hang on. Did I just hear you say you got sidestepped by Sean Pereira, the slowest player enough? Oh, sorry, he's the fastest 12-year-old player in the field.
You're not gonna live that down now that you mentioned it. I forgot that ever happened.
Yeah,
and now if that gets wind, it's just
every time I'm gonna be all the kids, all the coaches. It's the first thing they mention. Everyone forgets the good things you do. As soon as you get sidestepped, that's what everyone remembers. No one talks about my wonder try against Cobra when I was playing for the Tigers.
The getting sidestepped is one thing. It's getting sidestepped by Sean Pereira.
Yeah, right? that's tough.
Yeah, he's twinkle toes.
No.
Okay, anyway.
That's
well, Curtis, I hope he's listening because SP's been offering out 100-meter races against everyone recently.
He
reckons he's the fastest in the club still.
Mate, in a straight line, I reckon I'd do him. But I reckon it's just he had the edge on me that day. I should have mentioned I was playing in flip flops as well. But it's yeah, I reckon in a straight line, no problem.
Well, we were playing in an under 12 regulation size field, so perhaps he has the advantage there of familiarity compared to you're used to a bigger.
Maybe could be. But yeah, I think yeah, that definitely stung for a bit. But yeah, Daryl buying the beers, Rachel giving me a cuddle, it all made it better pretty quickly.
Oh, you're trying to hint that, huh? There you go. There you go. Soothing the ills.
We knew that was coming.
Good old Auntie Rachel.
I think is that Sid's in the background?
Yeah, that was my last night before I left, and I'm told it was a good night. I couldn't give you any stories myself, but everyone tells me I had a good time.
Well, I think Jacko has similar memory issues when it comes to that as well, I think. Well, I just got to point out, Jacko, you've been putting some time in the gym or something. You look like you shed a few pounds over there.
It's very, very kind of you to notice, but we got a long way to go yet, mate. And actually, probably need to hold off the drinking because that seems to be a bit of a downfall.
Well, but I understand. Just to the Tigers are training again, Jacko.
Juniors. We've been training with the under 12s up for the last few weeks. And as of tomorrow, we start again with under 9s up. Really strict SOPs off the field, but obviously contact training is allowed now. So on the field, slightly more relaxed with back into our conditioned touch games, etc. But off the field, it's very strict. It's quite bizarre because.
Sorry, you see someone chiming in already, Jacko. Look at that. Sean's already in.
I can see it. Get your facts
hello,
right.
You got sidestepped by the main sidestepper. Get your facts. I'm not gonna.
I'm looking forward to the rematch, mate. Looking forward to the rematch. He's been ducking me ever since. Every time I ask him to play, he's got a cramp or something. He can't.
Yeah, there's an injury there, right?
Yeah, so he hasn't let me have my revenge yet.
Right now, we'll just put him on as a keyboard warrior right now.
Yeah,
right,
keyboard warrior. Definitely.
So, guys, what were the main things that you had to? What were the main hurdles when you came down here? I mean, to coach. Was it the coaching, or was it to adapt to the weather? All the main things that you had to which you found really tough. When you were basically in your first few months coming in. Yeah, who wants to go first?
Yeah, I'll jump in. I think for me, the really difficult thing initially was like I'd never coached anywhere other than Wales, so I had no idea how different clubs, different nations did things. So when I went to Cobra, it was kind of I had to sort of go from my idea of how to do things and their idea of doing things and try and come somewhere in the middle. And that was challenging. It was quite fun though, to be honest. And for me, I think it was as much about learning as sharing information. So yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed it. And I think like we said earlier, building sort of relationships and stuff in Cobra's Corner and spending time with the parents and the coaches, the kids, I think that all sort of helped with the big picture, which was ultimately trying to develop the rugby. And I think in the time I've sort of was there and then have kept coming back, I think it's quite clear to see actually the development, not only in the kids playing, but also the coaches as well. They've come a long way, I think. And that's down to Jacko more than myself, but
you're too kind, mate.
I think we'll get into the status of the coaching. Oh, by the way, Curtis, the designate head coach for the junior program is me right now.
There we go, mate.
Yeah. Well deserved.
Which when we talk about sharing the love, right? So because I get this startup, this is where there's a lot of links between the two clubs, all the way from Tom Hudson. I'd say when Tom Hudson was around, and then of course Gary Kane has always been there for all of us. Actually, having said that, Jacko, before you get to your wait a minute, hang on. SP is coming in again. No cramps, brother. Giving you enough time to practice. Can't take you down twice.
It's kind of him, isn't it? Kind of. It's very coincidental, mate. It's very
Mate,
coincidental.
it's a Friday afternoon. He must have started drinking about 4 hours ago.
Well, you know, SP, man. He doesn't need to drink. It's a party all the time in his life.
Awesome. How good is that, though?
Unless
How
his
good is
wife
that?
is around.
Yeah, it's like with SP, you know, right? You gotta. It's like a train that doesn't stop. Then you have to, and it's hard to jump off.
Mate, the guys are living legends, to be honest.
Yeah.
The amount of laughs he's given me.
Yeah, fair.
But yeah, I think we'll go this one. You know, both of you have had your time with Gary. What was he like in playing the role? Because he's mixed up on all levels, right, of the coaching and in the coaching circles. Jacko, we'll go to you because you're the head coach. I almost got you mixed up one time.
Mate,
was a head coach.
Mate, Gary is a machine of a bloke. Believe it or not, he's a full-time volunteer, and I don't really understand how he manages to do what he does for the rugby community here in Malaysia and keep up his full-time job. It's crazy. He's really looked after me since day one, and I honestly couldn't thank him enough. If Kano ever watches this, he'll be giving me a bit of shit now, but I have to say he's been awesome since day one. I think he might have said this when he was on the show, but I think he's educated over 80 coaches in the last 4 years here in Malaysia or something like that to a level 2 standard. He's obviously helped grow relationships through KL Tigers to various other clubs as well. As a personal mentor, he's been fantastic. Yeah, brilliant.
You know, guys, have you ever seen a moment where you find Gary's, where you see, I've never seen Gary like that, or you see Gary's human? Have you had that moment for yourselves?
In SIDS, quite a lot, yeah.
No, when it's coaching time, when it's at that level.
Yeah, I've got to be fair. Like, I think he is. Yeah, it's quite a tricky thing with coaching because you could coach a lot of different levels, but I think the really important thing is to understand the people you're coaching and not just the level they're at and what you need to coach, but also the sort of how you need to coach that. And I think he does that really, really well. And I know in my time in KL, he was a really good sounding board, you know, because he's obviously been in the rugby community there for such a long time. And I obviously had a very short period of time and had to hit the ground running. So I think he was just a really good sounding board. So I didn't really see too many times where I thought he was human. There was one tournament he was getting a bit passionate with the referee, but I think, yeah, like you say, he's only human. Could happen to us all.
Good. Jacko, in case you, this is if you look at the picture, this is, I just want to bring back when you mentioned you were there for a short period. This was in 2019, just last year, right, Curtis? Yeah, but you know, Ryan's pretty much taller than all of us, I think, right now.
Mate, he was taller than me when I met him.
but one of the things where the junior program has where you've really made an impact. I mean, you're very humble in when you say you were there for a short while. That's my boy over there in the front seat. But in those months that you were there, you really impacted a whole bunch of kids. I think this is where sometimes it's how you I mean, you talk about the struggles that you had to go through, but having said that, the impact that you made is really immense. I mean, so much so, like, you know, they all want you back. I mean, they talk about it. That was the young boy, one of the young boys. Was it Uwais?
He was, yeah. Uwais, he's my best friend. I think he's my best friend. I love that kid.
When the moment he hears that you're gonna come for the rugby camp, like a month, 2 months, he's already in gear and kit waiting.
Yeah, mate. He and his family visited me in Australia when I was playing in Australia. They went to the Gold Coast, and I drove up and spent the day with him. It was so fun. He's just so excited all the time. It's great. And but yeah, from a rugby perspective, there, like, yeah, it's nice of you to say, Dills, but I think also that's kind of a reflection on the people already in the club, such as yourself and the other volunteers, that they really sort of buy into it, because it doesn't matter how good the coach is. You know, you could have Eddie Jones there, if the people don't agree or they're not willing to listen or try and engage, then you can't really get anything done. And I was very fortunate when I was there that yeah, everyone was just super welcoming and really open to new ideas, and it made it quite easy in that early stages with the transition to yeah, just hit the ground running, really, which, given the small window I had to get a lot done in a quick period, you know.
Speaking of that, oh wait, Jacko, is Gary still making you use the 4x4 that Hudders wrote off?
No, we've got a new one now. It's Toyota Renova.
Mate, you're lucky.
Soccer mum.
He's looking after you, eh?
We've got Cyril keeps asking why I'm not wearing a KL Tiger shirt. We're on a Cobra TV program. Got to share the love.
Oh, actually, Gary Kane wore his Cobra t-shirt the same time as well.
Good.
Yeah.
Doesn't he? And we had Rowan who wore his KL Tigers. So, just saying.
Cheeky.
Rivalry strong. I like it.
We had actually we reminded Rowan, where's your KL Tigers shirt, because he was in his office shirt and he happens to have it with him. He said, put it on, you're a KL, put it on. Oh, speaking of that, Aizan's asking, guys, how are you fellas?
Oh man, I miss you, Aizan.
Yeah, I don't, Aizan. My liver's never felt better. 6 months away from KL. It's good.
That's well. If if you put a picture up of Curtis again, you know, let's motivate Aizan a bit more.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, that's Jake.
That's a better one than I was expecting.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, this is one of the things, Sam. Was there added pressure coming in after Curtis? Sorry, Jacko.
I'd say not really, no, because to be honest with you, I didn't know Curtis had been with you guys until maybe a couple of months after I was there. So no, I think the pressure was, I just didn't know what rugby was like over this side of the world. It's very, very different to back home, and Curtis has already said you've got to be able to adapt pretty quickly, and maybe the things that work back home don't work here, and you've got various different challenge points, and it's your job as a coach to adapt to that and get the best out of people, you know. So no, there was no pressure from Curtis, but the pressure was probably on just because of the environment that you're in, but very enjoyable at the same time.
I remember you had issues trying to figure out everybody's age when you initially came down.
Yeah, I know, and everyone also thinks I'm a lot older than I am. But yeah, names were a struggle for a long time as well. Had to keep asking people what their name were, and I hate doing that because I feel it's quite rude. But I think it's probably more rude to call someone the wrong name.
Yeah.
All right, guys, just gonna take a quick break because we've got our merchandise promo coming on. So just for the audience out there, don't forget, if you have any questions, do email us at cobrarcwebsite@gmail.com, or send us a DM on IG or a PM on Messenger as well. Right now, let's welcome back Princess. Cobra merchandise promo.
You can see that I'm wearing one of the t-shirts right now. This is the 3D snake. Okay, this is what we have in adult sizes and kid sizes as well. And here we have the Japan edition, World Cup Rugby for the Cobra Club. And we have this in black as well. And this is the back part of the t-shirt. It says passion for rugby in Japanese. Okay, this is a really cool one. Okay, and then next, so this is the black one. So this is the black one. Okay, next is, this is the attack t-shirt. This is the female one. Okay, this comes in yellow and black. Okay, white, sorry. And this is the male one. Okay, this one also comes in white and yellow, right? Next is our 3D snake in yellow, what I'm wearing now, but this is in yellow. This is the last one, which is the Gila Stress t-shirt. So we also have a few items from Canterbury. Okay, this is the original Canterbury shorts, but we've personalized it to have our Cobra logo here on the shorts, on the jersey t-shirts. Okay, we also have in singlets and in polo shirts. Okay, what we also have this is the snakelet drawstring bag. Okay, so this is very convenient for the Cobrats, all right, for the kids in the Cobrats. So all of you can get our merchandise, our t-shirts from our Facebook page. Just inquire for our Facebook page, or you can write to us at cobrarcwebsite@gmail.com.
Cobra merchandise promo. And there you have it. That was Cobra merchandise promo. Don't forget, if you'd like to inquire about those, do send your emails, inquiries to cobrarcwebsite@gmail.com. Now we're coming to the second half of the show. We're not going to take too much time because I know that Jeff wants to show the rugby after this, so we'll let him do that. But moving forward, guys, and this is a question to all three of you, because being in the development side of rugby, I'll ask Dylan a bit later. But for the two of you gents who've really come in, and we've talked about coming to a different environment, different part of the world, how you're coming from a nation that has rugby as one of the major sports. Now, in Southeast Asia, more importantly, it is a minor sport. It's still growing. It's been growing probably more in the last 10 years than it has been in the last 50. But in terms of it catching up with the established nations, from a development point of view, what are your thoughts on that? I'll ask Jacko first.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a very broad question. There's all sorts of stuff that we can be doing, and I potentially think it could start from the bottom up. So more grassroots clubs, more programs like Cobrats, providing rugby to a wider platform of children for a good price. We need to educate coaches. We need to get playing. I think the best way to get better at rugby is to play games. And unfortunately, here in KL particularly, we don't have that many teams, junior sides. KL Tigers, Cobrats, and Saracens have done a fantastic job of organising the Tri Series over the last year or so, or probably not even that long. And that's working really, really well because we've got more regular fixtures. Otherwise, it's just your international tournaments. So I'd like to see more clubs and then more games, more fixtures for the kids to go and play in.
Curtis?
Yeah, I think I agree with a lot of what Jacko said there, but I think for me, in order to have more games and more teams, you need to focus on your player pool, the size of your player pool. And I think the main way to do that is with coach development. So I think the teams, at least in my experience, don't seem to have a problem recruiting players, but they seem to have a problem retaining those players. And you see a lot of kids sort of drop off and slip through the net. And then what happens is the numbers go down, and then you can only sort of fill 3 teams, as Jacko said. And I think that's not a criticism of any coaches we have, but if we can be, as coaches, our best possible version, then the trainings are better, they're more fun, they're more engaging, and kids are more likely to stick with it. And then ultimately the numbers sort of build, and and you get the more competitive fixtures, as Jacko said. But I think, yeah, pretty much in line with what Sam said there.
Right.
I think as well. So I think as well, like from where we're from, rugby is a major part of your academic school life as well. So you're playing rugby in your lessons at school. You're playing rugby after school as your extracurricular activities, and you're playing for your school. Every town almost has a club, so the opportunities are there. And I think it's get into rugby, which is going around Malaysia at the moment, and we've got Malaysian coaches that are going into local schools, and they are implementing a rugby program. I'm not sure what that consists of, but if we can get more schools playing rugby, and more kids playing rugby, then it's bound to pick up. And like Curtis says, then your player pool is then a lot broader.
Right.
Yeah,
But Dylan, we've had in the past, issues with coaches not being not certified, or at least coaches who are, we've never had certified coaches prior to this, and then we went through. We sent a lot of coaches down through either Gary Kane to do their level ones. But is that something that has been an issue in the past, and what are the problems now that you face in terms of, you talk about numbers of the boys, but you need coaches to be able to teach the boys, and you need qualified. And also, from what we've been talking about, or you guys talked about here earlier, there must be an understanding of that coach with their kids as well.
I think I'll echo what Curtis mentioned. As a coach, you got to be the best version of yourself, and you have to be consistent on that basis. And that's where you can find. That's how you yourself as a coach improve over time. And you push yourself through by attending the coach development courses. I mean, throughout the last 5 years, I mean, whenever there's a coach development led by Curtis or Jacko, I'd be putting my name in, because it's a forum to open up, a forum to ask questions. I think for some coaches, it's the buy-in into all that. Could be better. I'd say can be better. There's a bit of a transition from what you call traditional old school, because you tend to coach this. Okay, sometimes you tend to coach from your past experience rather than coaching as what's current and what's going to be. And that's
100%.
I think that is the thing where where I feel where sometimes Jacko and Curtis have done very well, because they're actually closer to the age group that they coach, and therefore it brings a better impact. Whereas guys like me in their 40s, there's an adjustment period, and sometimes you don't realize it. You don't realize where you're at actually sometimes.
Yeah, I completely agree, mate. And actually, I think a bit of both of your points. You can have level 3 coaches, level 4 coaches, or probably level 3 coaches, but they got their certification quite a few years ago, and they haven't constantly kept up with the CPD, and they're not practicing being the best version of themselves. We're in a game that's constantly changing year on year, month on month. The game's evolving, and you've got to make sure that you evolve with it. And that's why someone like Dylan, who is always he's always asking, he's always at the CPD sessions and making sure that he's keeping up to date and current with what's going on.
Just about in there as well, not to go too deep, but like you said, Jacko, the game's changing, but people are also changing. And what Dylan said is exactly right. Like, coaches tend to coach how they were coached. Yeah. So in terms of like generational and cultural differences, like a 40-year-old who was screamed at when he was a 10-year-old, then puts that into this generation, and this generation probably doesn't respond to it the same way as an older generation. Yeah. So it's not only the game that's changing, it's also who we're coaching. And that is the big challenge. And mate, it's a tough job coaching.
Yeah. Absolutely. And then you've got to cater to your individuals as well. So you might even have the same age group, but Johnny learns in a different way to Mark, so you've just got to, it's tough.
It is tough. And I appreciate we're asking volunteers to do this mostly, and it's, big, it's a big ask, but I think that's kind of, if rugby in Malaysia specifically is going to develop further, I think that is the really important next step. But I think, even like I said at the top of the show, even since I first went there in 2017, using Cobra and Tigers as the example, because they're the two clubs I was involved with, I think they've just improved so much in a 3-year span. And if it continues like that, I think it's going to be in a really good place.
Right. I don't know. It was a question to me, but somebody should know this. Do you know if Tony Pushinelli's Cup Award is still around with Cobrats?
I'm not too sure about that one.
Hey, Jib.
Jib's around.
Jib's
saying
online.
that.
There he is, mate.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
All right.
Actually,
So,
sorry, go on. Right.
go on.
No, I just want to. I was about to use Jib as an example as a coach who's consistently trying to improve. Yeah, at the same time, when we talk about, he brings a certain level of intensity to his teams. That all the kids that play, when they play with that level of intensity, that level of energy that he does. Which I find that there's something interesting where teams kids especially tend to adopt or tend to pick up the coaches' little nuances, and then you can see it when they play in the field. And Jib was one of the. And now Jib's in, because I know Jib as a player, as a coach, he can be very intense and competitive. Off the field, he's polite and nice, but he can. And then you can see in all the kids, whereas I can see in my kids, they're all playing a different style.
Yeah, but I think that's it, mate. Like teams are not just with kids. I think teams are an extension of the coach. And so, for example, if you are a loud, aggressive person, you shout at the referee, and you're probably not the best sportsman, you can't then complain when your team reflects that on the field. So I think, again, we're asking these volunteer coaches for so much, and it is so difficult. But these are all little values that go with our game that the coach has to reflect that, so that then the team reflects that.
Yeah, I keep hearing this loud. The one person I can think of is the man who sidestepped you. So, but
Not to name names, mate. Not to name names.
I'm not naming names. Just like I think I got a new nickname for him. I'm gonna suggest at Kangaroo Court, Mr. Sidestep.
Mate,
I
love it.
Funny story entangling with him, because I think they were under 11s at the time. The team I went with them, and I just remember I was the coach on the side of the field, and I think you could have one, maybe two, so it might have been me and Daryl, and he was a water boy or something, and the referee made a decision and probably wasn't the right decision, and all of a sudden I bent down to pick up a water bottle, and SP is past me, and he's shouting at the ref, come back, like, calm down. He's just so passionate, which you love, but it's just harnessing that the values of
old school.
I think that's blown up. I think especially when you're talking about children's rugby as well. Like, we are just here for fun, right? I've seen some shocking examples of that over the last few years, I'd have to say.
Mate, that's all over the world.
Yeah. Oh yeah, 100%. 100%.
All right. Okay.
Go on, right.
So moving forward, there's one particular problem that Cobra have had in the past is getting those development boys to be at the same level as a senior team. In that most clubs, you should have that as something that's seamless, that goes on from you follow the same pattern or system that the senior team has, and that gets started from the juniors, and then by the time you get into the senior team, and we see that with probably with I would dare say KL Tigers, that the juniors can get into the senior team and they play the same patterns. Why do you think that there's this big, I suppose, gap in terms of the juniors at 17 and the senior team, who we have senior boys at 17 who have not come from Cobrats, but
I would say yes. So we use principles of play syllabus. So we essentially teach everyone at our club. You use the principles of play to follow our syllabus. To actually talk about patterns, etc., and your playbook, that's probably specific to the team that you're coaching, because your players are going to have different attributes. One issue that I think we have in terms of the continuity going from age grade rugby into the senior team is firstly, age grade teams here play 7s and 10s, and senior rugby is 15s. So those boys aren't very familiar with it, and it's almost maybe a little bit daunting for them. But also at that age, and it's not just Malaysia. I remember in England, at that age, children are starting to now understand a little bit more about the world, and rugby is not their top priority. You have a massive drop off, particularly where I was in England. I'd say 20% of the teams that we played at under 16 level by the time we got to 18s didn't exist. And then you've got university and you've got jobs, and things just change. I think it's the role of the club is to get to know these people on an individual basis, and it's their role to keep them in the game.
Yeah, I think you took the words out of my mouth there, to be fair, Jacko. Like, I think for me, the only thing I would add to that, and it probably goes with Sid's question at the top of the program, is for me the big thing to develop post school is the pathway, and how do these players get into senior teams and senior programs and improve. So I think for me, again, it would come back to coach development, because as Jacko said, when you get to 16, 17, certain other things take your attention, and I'll let you be the judge of what that is. But yeah, so I think there you need a coach who really, again, as Jacko said, understands his players, understands what's going to interest them, what's going to motivate them, and keep them in that drop-off period. And again, that's not unique to Cobra or Malaysia. That happens all over the world. It's a difficult age, but I think if there's a clearer pathway there, then you'll see a better progression through to the senior team. And just like Jacko also said, I think that's probably where KL Tigers have got it really well at the minute, is they have a vision that goes right through the club. So from the seniors down to the Tigers, everyone's following the same principles of play. So it makes it very easy to seamlessly transition up. Whereas that's probably one point I would say to Cobra is probably the under 11s coach a different style to the under 10s, and that's no one's fault. That's just probably aren't as far along in our sort of program or vision as maybe KL Tigers were.
How has social media affected, especially at age when some of the kids social media smartphones? Because I don't get how it works, but is there really an impact on the kids when it comes to player retention or keeping them engaged, that sort of thing?
I don't think it's just kids, mate. I think like everyone, even I know it's a bit of a running joke that we're young coaches, but I think even people our age, if you go on Instagram and you post something and you get 100 likes, you feel really good about yourself. So why do you need to go out and sweat and go out in the hot weather and maybe get shouted at and make a mistake to try and get that same feeling? Because you can get it instantly at the push of a button. Video games also, like things like that. There's just so many distractions. So, I mean, it's probably an easy answer in some ways and a more complex one in others. But I think there's just so many ways kids get things instantly. Whereas rugby, any sport really is a process. There's a lot of discipline involved. There's a lot of commitment, and it takes time. And I think that's probably the big switch, like we're talking about generational sort of differences. That's probably the big change, I would say.
Jacko? Social media, how's that?
Oh, so sorry, mate. Social. I don't think that. Sorry, no.
He was already thinking about his drink at the
Sid
top.
will stay open for you, Jacko. Sid will stay open for you. They're not going to shut. Water game.
No, early start tomorrow. No, I don't think it's. I don't think it would. I actually don't think it would be social media, to be honest. I think there's just, as you get older, the pressures in your life change and your priorities change. Unfortunately, like rugby here is not professional. If you look at even some of the top players here in Malaysia at the minute, rugby's not professional. So at some point you have to go out and you have to work, and that is your priority. Once you've got a family, you might have kids, etc. That becomes your priority. I know that we tried to run sessions. I think is it December that the majority of kids here have their big exams in the local schools.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think at Cobra we've tried to run various things in a December sort of time period, and we've managed to attack loads of the younger kids. But the older kids can't attend because they've got things that are more important, unfortunately, to them with their exams. And then once they've had their exams, they might not come back because then they've gone off to university, and then there's a little bit of a bridge because if they're playing at university and then they go off to work in the wider world, they might not end up coming back to Cobra, which is a shame.
Mm. All right, one final question because I know that the Waratahs and Rebels are going to be playing at 5 o'clock, and some of them want to switch on to that. Firstly, final words. I mean, for someone, if a parent, and this is looking from a parent's point of view, what needs to be taught to the parents from a coach's point of view? You know, because you see a lot of parents are very hands-on. Of course, some of them are coaches, but some
parents are too hands-on, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So is it? I mean, the age-old question: should you be coaching at the same team where your children are at?
Ooh, big question.
Yeah, I mean,
that's why I don't coach, and I don't allow myself to coach my kids.
If they're doing a good job, I don't see why not. What can be quite frustrating is whether it's a kid, whether it's a coach or whether it's a parent, is that they get too invested in whatever's going on, and they're talking from the sidelines. They're talking from the sidelines, or they're even stopping play. I've seen parents and coaches come onto a pitch and stop play. You know, it's if we want our kids to get better at rugby, they've got to have an opportunity to perform, and actually it's about them. It's not about us as parents or coaches.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing. Sorry if I cut you off there, Sam. I think that's the big thing. That, like, where again, it's not unique to Cobra. I think this is all over the world. You get a parent coach who, or just a parent in general, kind of lives through their child and is maybe a bit too demanding and a bit too pushy with their kid. Whereas, like Sam said earlier in the show, it's the kids are playing for fun at the end of the day, and if they're enjoying it, they stick with it and they get better, and then they enjoy it more. So for me, it's more just about almost obviously not a parent, but obviously if I was a parent, I would probably just think you need to let go and let the kids get on with it and have fun.
There you go. That's wise words. Oh, well, at least good advice to all those parents out there, which is why I don't bother. You know, when my kids first started playing, I walked away because
maybe come back to me when I have kids. Maybe my answer
would be different. Yeah.
I'll tell you one incident. This was in Singapore again. The one of Tanglin or Centaurs tournaments, and I was coaching the under 10s. I think that time in Singapore, and one of there were some parents, all rather passionate. And the referee stopped the game. When they stopped the game, the referee looked at me. But when they looked I thought, well, I didn't say anything. And lo and behold, somebody behind me walked past me, and it was Daryl. Daryl got a talking to from the ref after that.
I remember that one. I think that was that in Penang?
No, that happened in Penang too with Daryl.
So anyway, that's a common. Oh, look, there's Rachel saying hello, boys.
Hey, Rachel.
There she is.
There you go. I think she said. Which one question I need to ask, right? Because I don't know what question or statement, but Rat.
Yep.
That's always been the issue because these are the two hotshot young development officers, rugby development, and they are. So I might need to start.
We're talking about the yummy mummies, is it? The mothers who are like,
Oh yes,
the top 10 coaches in the development. I don't know anything about that, but apparently there's a list.
They were whispers.
Isn't there a list, Rachel? Rachel, there's a list. I don't know.
I've got a top 20, but it's too long to read out.
Okay. Anyway, Guys, thank you very much. Firstly, I'd like to thank Jeff Siddle, and also why are we thanking him? And thanks to Sidspa for showing this. Of course, don't forget to watch the Waratahs and Rebels.
Because you get
No, but anyway,
something complimentary from him.
Yeah.
Waratahs and Rebels going to be playing at 5 o'clock at Sid's Pub, and also the England against West Indies 6 p.m., which is the third and deciding test. Rachel's laughing. I don't know why. Ha 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 ha. But she knows what we're talking about. But Jens, Curtis, and Jacko, thank you very much for being our guests on this show. It's been really great having you guys on. We look forward to having you guys on again one of these days. Curtis, good luck with the Austria rugby team. Jacko, good luck with not having to drink too much and getting fit again.
I need to tell Jacko, you may get into trouble with the Tigers Kangaroo Court, but you will get a free pass at the Cobra Kangaroo Court with the shirt on.
I'll hold you to that, mate. I'll hold you to that.
It's live and recorded. So
if it's down to Nazar, I'll be in trouble.
No. You wore, because Friday is almost obligatory to wear your Cobra shirt, especially if you're a senior. So
I got into trouble. I know I'm on the hit list for the Kangaroo Court.
I'm watching you, Curtis Bradford. God, you guys are so in trouble. Anyway, on behalf of Cobra Rugby Club, thank you very much, guys, for watching. For those of you out there, please don't forget there's training on Tuesdays and Fridays. That's today from 5:30 p.m. onwards. If you have any questions, do email us at cobrarcwebsite@gmail.com.
For the juniors, Sundays we're training again, 4 to 6, under 16, under 14s. The younger ones will still have to wait.
All right, there you go. Heard it straight from the horse's mouth, and Jacko as well. From all of us here at Cobra Rugby Club, this has been the Friday sessions on Cobra TV. Bye bye.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.